Welcome to Meet Me Halfway. I'm Jordan Griffin. He is Austin McNorton. You know what we're going to do? Talk about frostbitten feet for an entire hour. Thank you guys for tuning in. Once again, Jordan Griffin, Austin McNorton. I'll say hello, to the people.
What's going on, man? How's that Coke taste in Atlanta?
Oh, man. You know, down here, it just tastes different.
Dude, it really does. It's the best
Better.
glass of Coke I've ever had in my life is down there.
And it was just a normal out of the fountain at a pizza joint in downtown Atlanta. It's just the best you've ever had. It's strange.
It was. There's honestly no lying.
It's strange. I can't tell you exactly why. All right. We got a lot to cover today. It's going to be pretty much an NFL-only talk today. Kind of a strange period of time to where we're not quite talking about division winners and Super Bowl picks. MLB is kind of in the home stretch in the regular season. A lot of these pennant races are kind of starting to wrap up. Guys are starting to get a little lead. And the NBA is pretty much in its dead time. So, going to talk about a lot of NFL today, a lot of off-season.
Even though it sounds like DeMarcus Cousins just tore his ACL again.
Marcus Cousins did tear his ACL. That's true. I forgot I was about to rub that in your face on the show. So, I mean, you were bragging about them having a third option, and that isn't.
I mean, I don't think he even would have started for the Lakers, but it's just kind of like, really? Can you go like a full season without getting hurt ever? Jeez.
Don't know. I don't know if I can answer that for you. It might be done now. DeMarcus Cousins' career might be next to over.
Honestly,
you had the Achilles and you had a torn ACL now too.
The whole point of him signing these 1-year deals was so that he could get a bigger deal, saying, "Look, I'm a beast."
Yeah,
that's why I signed these 1-year deals so that I could show how much of a beast I am. But in reality, he's gotten hurt twice in both of those 1-year deals. So now, any NBA owner's like, "Nah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm not paying you to get hurt like you have every year."
That's the downside to signing 1-year deals. And I mean, you get the benefits of that. He should have signed that 4-year deal he got in New Orleans. So.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna dive right into it. We're gonna pick up on a topic we left off last show. Antonio Brown.
Breaking news.
Breaking news. It'll shock you to your core. The NFL ruled against his helmet, and he did not retire.
What? Come on, man. What a joke. Can you believe that? Man, the NFL, who, I mean, just created these brand new safe helmets, shockingly didn't let one of their players use them. I cannot believe that. I mean, honestly, I'm surprised. Like, I thought for sure they were just going to let him not even wear a helmet at all.
That's where I was about to go with it.
That's where I was kind of leaning towards, and then they came out with this news, and it just blew me away.
I mean, what better helmet than the natural skull?
Exactly. Who needs the safest helmet that's ever been created? I mean, why would they make anyone wear those?
Right.
What a joke.
So, Antonio Brown is going to be wearing the new helmet, will not be retiring, expects to be back with the team here shortly to full strength with the blistered or frostbitten feet that he has right now. So, with Antonio Brown, we're not sure if he was going to retire or not. So, what are the Raiders' expectations for this season? Do you expect – they won 4 games last year. They've improved a lot. You have to – no matter how much you hate the team, like I do, you got to look at how much they've improved. You get Antonio Brown for pennies on the dollar. You get John from a strong hitting safety. That's pretty much a star of hard knocks right now. You get a power running back in Josh Jacobs, a guy I liked coming out. And then you kind of reach, but you still got a good pass rusher in Cleveland Farrell. Then you get guys like Richie Incognito, kind of a character problem. And then Tyrell Williams was a good signing. So how much better do you see this team as opposed to last year?
I mean, really, I think it all kind of comes down to Derek Carr's ability and John Gruden kind of saying, all right, this is kind of starting to become my team a little bit with some of the players that I want and some of the philosophies and ideas that I put in rather than inheriting this team last year. I'm kind of working with what I got. Now he kind of has his guys, I guess, even though he doesn't have Khalil Mack and other greats like that. But anyway, I think it really comes down to how well Derek Carr. Because I mean, if you can have a great wide receiver, but if you don't have a quarterback that can get that great wide receiver the ball, then, I mean, it doesn't really matter. So you say they win 4 games last season. They have a pretty tough schedule. I mean, the AFC West is not a division that's really easy. I mean, you have probably 2 out of the 4 greatest teams in the entire AFC in that division. So, I mean, that's not going to be easy. That's 4 games right there on your schedule alone that you're like, well, those are going to be tough to win. Denver's not an easy place to play in, no matter how good they are or how bad they are. Playing in Mile High Stadium is ridiculously challenging. And then you look at some of the other opponents they got to face this season. I'd say maybe 1 to 3 games better. I still don't see him making the playoffs. I still see him finishing last in this division. So, yeah, they got maybe a little more talent in some areas, but in reality, I don't think it's going to matter that much.
Yeah, I actually see this team. I mean, believe it or not, I actually think this team actually is going to be a surprise. Now, when I say a surprise, I think their ceiling is doubling up 4 wins. So I think 8-8
so you think they'll finish better than Denver?
I do. I think they will finish better than Denver. I'm just not 100% convinced that Denver's defense is what it used to be. But I do love Vic Fangio as the head coach, so he does. I don't know. There's a lot up in the air in Denver. No pun intended there. But with Joe Flacco, Andrew Luck, I need to have one guy for the entire year. I hate going back between 2 quarterbacks. When you have more than one, you don't have any. The offensive line was atrocious last year. The defense was very vanilla, didn't have any stunts or any sort of twist on the defensive line. I like the Raiders' additions. Well, Marcus Joyner taking the best safety from the Los Angeles Rams, adding him. Trent Brown moving into right tackle. Might be the worst decision that they made with the money included in that contract. He's not the highest paid offensive lineman of all time. But the problem is for me that I really don't like, they moved him to right tackle. He played left for the Patriots in favor of Colton Miller, the former first-round pick in 2017 from UCLA, who was just about one of the worst offensive linemen in the NFL last year. Not left tackles. Not left tackles. He was bad. Just period. He sucked last year. This is a guy that people have already given up on. He was atrocious last season. I like that they're giving him some props, giving him some confidence, trying to get him back to his first round kind of projection, moving him, keeping him at left tackle, moving Trent Brown to right tackle. But I don't see that lasting. I see Trent Brown sliding into that left tackle spot here in a few weeks. Colton Miller, if he performs anything like he did last season, Derek Carr is going to get smacked from the backside just like he has the entire last season. So I think 8 wins is about exactly where they are. Vontaze Burfict, even though he's not what he used to be, still a better upgrade than what they had. But the pass rush, man, it's still looking bad. Cleveland Farrell is not a guy that's just going to turn this pass rush around. A rookie, especially a rookie.
He's not going to turn their pass rush. 13 sacks?
They had 13 sacks last year.
That's hard to do.
The next closest were the Patriots, 30. 17 sack differential between the first worst and the second. That is bad. That is atrocious. Yeah. And to let you know, the league leader were Pittsburgh and the Chiefs with 52. 17. Whoa. That's absolutely awful. That is making sure that all of those sacks probably were coverage sacks at that point. So
yeah,
I'm going with 8-8. I do like this team. I think John Gruden is.
Here's another question though. What? Because I honestly don't know. What is the relationship between Derek Carr and John Gruden?
I honestly don't think it's good.
Isn't that a problem?
That is a problem. But I think Derek Carr is good enough to get them to 8-8. I am a Derek Carr critic. I have been my entire life. I just don't see it with this guy. I think he's soft mentally. That's one thing that I pointed out numerous times when he was crying after he had gotten sacked. Apparently, had lost a lot of respect in the locker room. And then you're watching Hard Knocks. I'm sure you haven't watched it because you don't watch anything. But watching Hard Knocks, he definitely seems like he's playing it up for the cameras. He's the, I get along with everyone. I'm the too cool. I'm just the cool cat in the room. Feels very played up. I don't believe him. I don't think that Derek Carr and John Gruden are meant to be. I think John Gruden gets his quarterback in this upcoming draft class. Or goes and gets a veteran. You know, he loves veteran guys, so I'm not 100% sure. But I think I do like the talent on the. I think LaMarcus Joyner was an underrated signing. So I think 8-8 is about exactly where I see them.
But then I'm looking at their schedule here, and it's like, what are some wins that they're going to be obvious underdogs in, but you think they're going to pull out? I mean, they have to play the AFC South, which obviously includes Houston, Jacksonville, the Colts, obviously. I mean, there's some games in here that they're going to be underdogs in that you're saying they're probably going to pull out.
Yeah, I understand that, but the thing is, I hate looking at schedule. I think it's the most overblown, overrated sort of factor going into a season because you say they play the AFC South. Okay, well, let's say they're going to go play the Colts. You say they're a massive underdog in that game. Next thing you know, Kenny Moore tears his ACL. Andrew Luck's still out from that calf injury. Things happen all the time going into a season. You think this team is going to come out of the AFC or the NFC. That team doesn't end up making the playoffs. The Vikings were the overwhelming favorite to make it out of the NFC last year. Didn't end up making the playoffs. Things happen all the time. Teams are not what you think going into a season. That changes 100%. So I never look at schedule to a certain degree. If they go from like the toughest schedule to the easiest or vice versa, either way around. So I still see 7-9. I think is probably more realistic in an 8-8 for me. So I think they've improved a lot, and that pains me to say. I absolutely hate this team with all of my passion. But I cannot deny that the fact they got Josh Jacobs, who I loved last year coming out of Alabama, LaMarcus Joyner, Trent Brown. Their offensive line's okay. I think they have two gaping holes at left guard and at left tackle. But I think it's a lot better getting Trent Brown. Rodney Hudson's one of the best centers in the NFL. Cleveland Farrell, I guess, is going to help the pass rush. Can't get any worse. And then once again, LaMarcus Joyner coming in the safety spot. Okay, moving on, we're going to talk about Kyler Murray, a guy I am a huge fan of as well. I've been on this guy since day one, since he stepped on the foot at OU. So Steve Keim, the general manager for the Arizona Cardinals, said this is kind of once again, I don't have the exact quote here, but saying how he caught a lot of flack for drafting Josh Rosen in the top 10, and he says it's unprecedented, as the word he used, to move on from a quarterback that you drafted top 10 the year before and then taking guy number 1 overall the year after. But he said he rationalized it for the reasoning being that Kyler Murray is a, quote, generational talent. Now, Austin, first of all, I want to preface this. What is a generational talent? Is it every 10, 15, 20, 25 years? What's the span here to go off of?
I would probably say every 10 years is probably what I would lean towards.
Then that's a decade talent. That's not I just don't. Generational just feels LeBron.
Large.
Yeah, it just feels era is what I feel like. Everything was different once this guy entered the league. That's what it feels like to me.
See, I would say like Patrick Mahomes would be
right, but
everything was different until he entered the league.
That is true, but he wasn't a generational this is hard. This is almost impossible. It's impossible to get any footing here because what is generational? And are we talking about generational playing on the NFL field or coming into the NFL? Because Patrick Mahomes wasn't a generational talent coming into the NFL, no. But once he got on the NFL field, then he was a generational talent with the throws that he pulled off just last year. So where do I go from here? I don't understand what is this generational talent.
Yeah, I mean, I say he was because he was great in college, but I don't know if he was a generational talent. College football didn't really change because of Kyler Murray.
Okay, so who would – all right. So let's go back. Who was the last generational talent quarterback?
In the NFL or?
When this guy – being drafted into the NFL. Forget what they did in the NFL. Going into the NFL. Number 1 overall pick. This guy is the guy. Who was the last generational talent that we've had?
I'd say Vince Young might be up there. Gosh. I know. I don't know.
I don't know either. I mean, I would think Cam Newton.
Cam Newton, yeah.
Cam Newton seems to be the one guy that I would think because
that's a good one.
Because he was a man amongst boys in college at Auburn. The big body. I mean, he's bigger than the guys he's running over, including defensive linemen.
Yeah.
Cam Newton.
What about Andrew Luck?
Andrew Luck. No, that's good. Yeah, you're right. Andrew Luck. He was definitely probably the last. Was he drafted? He was drafted after Cam Newton, I believe. He was the year after Cam Newton.
Yep.
So Cam Newton and Andrew Luck, I think, are the last two. And then before that, I think Jamarcus Russell was one of those. And Peyton Manning. That's going way back, though. Peyton Manning was Peyton Manning one of those? Because he didn't go number one.
Yeah. Who did? Who went in front of him? Boy, we are taking some major throwbacks here.
Man, maybe he did go number one. I don't know. He did go number one. I was mistaken. He went number one out of Tennessee. So Peyton Manning was one of those. Ryan Leaf was one. He was supposed to be the guy that was going to be wearing a gold jacket.
What about Matt Leinart, Carson Palmer, the USC guys maybe?
If they didn't go number one, I almost don't even count it because then they are overlooked at some point. I would say, okay, just to wrap this up, let's go with Andrew Luck is the latest we've seen. The newest one we will see is Trevor Lawrence.
Yes.
Cam Newton before him. And then I think two guys that were considered generational were Matthew Stafford and Sam Bradford. I think both those guys coming out, they were consensus number one picks, especially Bradford. Coming out of OU, winning the Heisman, he was the guy. He was the dude coming out of OU. So I think those are the only ones. But the thing is, though, shouldn't there only be one of them? Shouldn't there only be one generational talent?
Yeah.
If it's generational,
choosing between those guys that we've listed, I wouldn't even know who I would go with.
So we go Cam Newton, Andrew Luck, Jamarcus Russell, Bradford, Stafford, and that's almost it in this decade. But that's 5. Aren't you supposed to have more than that? Or aren't you supposed to have a lot less than that?
Less. Like you're supposed to have 1, right?
And there's more than the 5. People that have said this about multiple players, they're generational, you know.
And it's not just quarterbacks either. We've said that about running backs, wide receivers, defensive linemen.
No.
Myles Garrett.
The ultimate generational talent that we would hear about years before he was even drafted. Jadeveon Clowney.
Oh, yes.
That was the guy that everyone said, this is the next Bruce Smith. That's what everyone said. That's what I was told 3 years before he got drafted. Coming out of high school, oh, this is the guy. Hits that guy in Michigan. Oh, this is the guy. How many of these generational talents are we going to have? At some point, it's just, okay, he's just the best we've had in a few years. Can we just say that?
Yeah.
I think Kyler Murray coming out of college is probably the best quarterback. And I'm very high on Kyler Murray, so a lot of you probably disagree with this. He's probably the best quarterback coming out of college since probably Andrew Luck. But I don't think he's even close to Andrew Luck's sort of talent. I think he's better.
There's a lot of hype around him. Like there was a lot of hype around Andrew Luck, and Luck lived up to it. There's been a lot of hype around Murray. We'll see.
I think he was.
I like Kyler Murray too. So.
Well, I think he was better than any of the quarterbacks drafted last year, or I think he was better than any of the quarterbacks drafted the year before.
Do you think he was better than Baker?
Yeah, I think he's better than Baker. For sure, I think he's better than Baker. I think Kyler Murray has the rare combination of escapability. Okay, so there's a difference between a running quarterback and a escapable quarterback. Lamar Jackson's a running quarterback. Like, his first read's gone, he's gone. Kyler Murray's not like that. He goes to his second read. He can escape with his leg. But you saw at OU, even when he ran, Never once did this guy get hit. Never. He got hit. He only found open lanes. He knew where he could get.
Yeah.
He ran out of bounds at the exact right time, but he only uses like when he needed to. Design runs in OU. You know they love those sort of plays. I love Kyler Murray. I think at the end of this year, it's going to be a top 10 quarterback. I think that fast.
Whoa.
Yes.
I mean, I like him as much as the next guy, but
Not as much as me.
no.
I absolutely love Kyler Murray. I think there are a few guys that come along.
So do you think he's a generational talent?
No.
Because with that statement,
no, I don't.
Sounds like it. Because Luck was a top 10 quarterback at the end of the year.
Who?
Andrew Luck, after his first season. He was a top 10, I'd say.
Yeah, but I as good as Andrew Luck. I don't think well, first of all, I don't think we've ever seen the true what could have been with Andrew Luck. I think he's always been too hurt. I don't think we've ever seen him at 100%. I don't think we probably ever will see him at 100%. But do I think Kyler Murray is the best quarterback in 20 years? No, I don't. I love this guy, and I think he's going to light up.
You don't think
the
the NFL will change because of Kyler Murray?
No. He's not the first guy that's done this. No, yeah. This is not Patrick Mahomes throwing the ball without looking. This is not that. This is Russell Wilson. This is stuff we've seen before. We've seen it with Michael Vick, though I think it's kind of a different aspect with Michael Vick, more of a running component than a passing. But he also could have been an MLB outfielder. So it's not like he doesn't have arm strength. He's got one of the strongest arms in the NFL already. He's deadly accurate. He throws one of the tightest spirals I've ever seen in college. I love this kid. But I struggle with anything that says generational talent. I mean, Cam Newton was a generational talent. Jamarcus Russell was the bee's knees. He was what I was being told was going to be. He was already getting suited for a gold jacket week 1. So
here's another deal. Is Zion Williamson a generational talent?
Yes.
Okay.
I do believe that. I think that Zion Williamson. I might take that back already. Okay, talent, maybe not. Needle mover, absolutely. Because you know that the New Orleans Pelicans views kind of local fan base and national, they're going to get a lot more national exposure than they had with Anthony Davis. Because Zion Williamson is already more interesting than Anthony Davis is his entire career. That's a fact. He is just the guy. I do think he's a generational talent. I don't even think he's the most talented guy in that draft class. I think that was Ja Morant. So I guess not. So this is such a difficult.
See, that's what's like. Who is LeBron's a generational talent? I'd say.
You can establish LeBron as a generational talent.
Is Giannis a generational talent?
He was drafted like 15th.
True.
Right? Was Michael Jordan. He was drafted 3rd. So in that draft class, Hakeem Olajuwon was a generational talent. So what are we talking about here? What is this term? I don't understand it. This is what I'm going to say. And I'm going to move past it after this. Kyler Murray is the best quarterback I've ever seen coming out of college since Andrew Luck. That's the best. That's the best I can assume. I can say it. And I'll stand by that. When I sell him to a guy, I really sell him to him. I did this with Markelle Fultz.
So in your fantasy draft, do you draft him as quick as you can?
Fantasy draft? No, I'm not doing that. I didn't draft Patrick Mahomes last year, even though I thought he had high hopes. No, I'm not doing that. I'm going with Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady. I'm going with those guys. I'm winning this fantasy league this year, by the way.
Oh, we'll see.
So we have a fantasy league with me, Austin, and all of our Butler friends. And I've won the title the past 2 years. Just saying. I mean,
I won it the first year, so.
Yeah, but what have you done for me lately?
Jordan and I have won all 3 years. We've done it.
We have. Yep. You won the first year, and I won the past 2. And then we have a couple guys who take it very seriously, like Tyson takes it very seriously, and he doesn't win. That's the best part. I love it. All right. So moving on, we're going to talk about more NFL quarterbacks. I'm going to give you 4, Austin, and you're going to tell me, is this the year? All these guys are on pretty much the deciding year of their career. This is the crossroads. Are they going to break out or are they going to break down? So, number one, Jameis Winston, Tampa Bay Buccaneers quarterback. Break out or break down?
I've been just so hopeful for him and this team as a whole for seems like several years now. And I kind of honestly lean towards being hopeful again, saying, hey, maybe Bruce Arians is going to fix it. He's going to come in and he's going to get in shape with Jameis Winston and correct all his mistakes. But I've been led down this path too many times. I'm not falling for it again. 19 touchdowns, 14 interceptions last year. I don't see it getting much better than that. And if it does, it won't be that significant to where I say, yes, he turned it around. He's back on the right track. I'm not going to do it. I'm not shaking the bait again. I'm not going to do it. So no, I think it's going to be a down year for Mr. Winston. Breakdown.
We've both been led down this path a few times. So much so that
you share my pain.
Right. The 2017 season, I predicted them to get the second seed in the NFC. You remember that? I mean, I had very high hopes for this team.
We each predicted them to win that division.
I did. I did not this year, obviously, but no. I know. I predicted them to win that division that year. Very much let down. But you know what? You might be a smarter man than I, because I'm taking the bait again. I'm going for a breakout. I'm ready.
Why?
You know what? I've recovered, and I'm ready to get hurt again.
Oh my God! I'm so sorry. I'm trying to help you.
I understand this. Here's my rationale, my reasoning for this. Okay, coming into the league, he had Lovie Smith. The minute that he stepped in the league, Lovie Smith was on his way out. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers wanted to get rid of him. They wanted Dirk Cutter to come in and teach Jameis Winston. So, second year in, Jameis Winston gets Dirk Cutter, one of the best offensive minds in the NFL. But then the defense is all of a sudden breaking down. All of a sudden, when Jameis Winston doesn't have any discipline, not that he had any to begin with, now Dirk Cutter's gone. This is a whole new regime that he has with Bruce Arians, a very disciplinarian coach, a guy that is not going to accept 15 to 20 picks again. I think this is the coach that exactly.
It's all because of coaching.
I think 100% is because of coaching. There's nothing changed around him on the offensive end. O.J. Howard's a little better. Mike Evans is still what he was. There isn't a ton different on this Buccaneers team. So I think 100% Bruce Arians coaching him as opposed to Lovie Smith and Dirk Cutter. I think this is the year that he breaks out. I'll say he probably goes about 4,000 yards like he did his rookie seasons. I think he's going to have low interception rate. I think he's going to have about 6 to 7, which is very, very low. I think 6 to 7. But I also think touchdowns. I think you're going to see a conservative Jameis. So I'm going to say around 20 to 22. So I'm going to say touchdowns. Yeah. So 22 to about 6 to 7 interceptions, which is something you'll take most times.
Who has more interceptions, Winston or Mahomes?
Who will have more interceptions? Winston.
Okay.
Winston. Because what did Mahomes have last year? 9? Something like that? Let me
look at 10.
He went like his first 15 passes, first 15 touchdowns. He didn't have any, and then he went on a pretty nasty streak the next 2 games. There he threw like about 3, I think, in a couple of them. Let me see. Oh no, he had more than that. He had way more than that. He had 12 last year, so 50 touchdowns and 12 interceptions. So
you think Jameis Winston is going to have less than?
Might. You know what? No, I mean, considering I thought Mahomes had less than that. I'll go with Jameis. I'll go with Jameis because 12. But then Mahomes gets better too, so he might throw less.
There's no sophomore slump for Mahomes.
But I mean, can you really get tape on Mahomes for the plays that he made last year? Can you really get tape on that? It's only to a certain degree. But I'll go Jameis because I think conservative. I think they're going to run the ball a little more. I think Ronald Jones is going to have a better year. He wasn't anything last year. So I think Jameis is going to have less interceptions.
How good is the Bucs offensive line?
It's middle of the pack to below average. Last year he threw 11 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. But we all know you were one mistake away from getting pulled from last year. You had Ryan Fitzpatrick right behind you. Fitzpatrick's one interception away from getting pulled. You got to try and make a play or else you're getting pulled.
That never works.
It never works in NFL history or college football. It never works. So I don't understand that tactic. That's why Dirk Cutter's gone now. But I'm ready to get hurt again. Breakout season for Jameis Winston.
I'll be here to console you.
All right. That's fine. All right. Moving on. Number 2, his pretty much draft friend. Number 2 pick in the exact same draft as him. Marcus Mariota, Tennessee Titans quarterback. Breakout or breakdown?
I'm again going to go with breakdown. I haven't seen anything yet that has shown me that he's on the up and up. Like, I haven't seen anything of what I saw him in college, where he was by far and away the best in college. Him and Jameis were probably 2 of the greatest college quarterbacks we've ever seen.
Yes.
And honestly, I think Jameis has been better in the NFL than Mariota. Mariota, I think, has had more success, but in terms of what quarterback I think I'd rather have, I think I would rather have Jameis, honestly.
Ooh.
I know.
Hurt again, aren't you?
Yeah. I haven't seen anything from Mariota other than throwing a touchdown to himself against the Chiefs. I had to. How could I talk about Marcus Mariota and not bring that up? You know I had to do it, and I'm sorry for doing it. And Maddie's here very upset by it.
You just move on, please.
But honestly, so I would say breakdown. I haven't seen anything from him that showed me that he's improving. I really haven't.
Right. I'm right there with you. I've been a pretty big critic of him as well. Especially, I think last year was really where I drew the line.
What was it? 11 touchdowns, 8 interceptions last year.
11 touchdowns,
68% completion percentage.
His best year was 26 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, and that was his second year, sophomore year in the NFL. Last year, 11 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. But the thing is, though, one, he's not aggressive like he was at Oregon. He is the most conservative. He's more conservative than Alex Smith. That's a fact. This guy is a check down god.
And yeah, he has a pretty good running back. I mean, Derrick Henry's pretty good, but I don't know. I haven't seen.
But the thing is, though, Derrick Henry has one of the worst efficiencies because they never give him the ball. He very rarely runs the ball, which is outside of my mind right now. I don't understand that. So back to Mariota, he's always injured as well. That's one thing. He's conservative. He's always injured. Last year is where I drew the line. He didn't play in the playoff deciding game versus the Indianapolis Colts, week 17 of the season. It was a win or go home playoff game. He had I forgot the exact injury, but Blaine Gabbert ended up playing in that game and ended up losing, just going out in the most miserable way possible you can for an NFL season. I draw the line there. I don't care what you have. You're playing in that game. Unless you're tearing an ACL or breaking your fibula again or your tibia again, you're playing in that game. I'm done with Marcus Mariota. Time to break down. All right. Number 3, Derek Carr, Oakland Raiders quarterback. Is it breakout or breakdown?
I talked about my concerns with his relationship between John Gruden and really just kind of you talked about his mental capabilities to be able to lead this team. But honestly, I think I'm going to go with breakout. I think, honestly, the addition of Antonio Brown can't hurt. I mean, it really can't hurt. This guy's numbers, maybe this guy's leadership attitude. I mean, if he feels like, man, I'm throwing the ball pretty well to this wide receiver who's, yes, he's helping me out, but he's giving me good numbers. He's getting us in a position to win games. And so really, I think this could be a breakout season for him. Honestly, his stats weren't just god-awful last season. I mean, over 4,000 yards, 19 touchdowns. They weren't terrible. We wonder about it's more of his just, I think, leadership ability and his relationship with his head coach for me. I think on the field, he could have a breakout season. I really do. I don't know how much that'll help the team out because I still think there's a lot of issues with this team, especially when it comes to defense and defensive line that we've talked about already. So we will see, but honestly, I think the addition of Antonio Brown helps. I think he could have a breakout year.
Yeah, I'm going to go the exact opposite. I don't think so whatsoever, like we were just talking about earlier. I look at Derek Carr as, and this sounds too deep, but I look at him as a broken man because this
so
is
you
the guy
think they need to go for Trevor Lawrence then?
I don't know if you have to wait that long. I think this upcoming year, this talented roster all of a sudden outside of the pass rush, you get some players on this team. So I don't know if you want to wait 2 years because he's not coming out this year. He's coming out the year after. So you might want to go get a Tua Tagovailoa. You might want to go get a Jake Fromm or a Justin Herbert, for example. So I'm going to go with breakdown. So here's the interesting thing. He comes into a league 3-13 team with Jack Del Rio at the helm. That was exactly what they expected. 21 TDs, 12 interceptions. Okay, that's a good year for a rookie quarterback, right? Then the next year, 7-9, that's a slow improvement. 32 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. That's going to be his best year statistically. 25 years old now. They have that 12-3 season just a couple years ago that we all remember. He had 28 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Very, very good year. Then he drops off the cliff. Okay, he goes 6-9. His completion percentage is down. He goes 3,400 yards that season, 22 touchdowns, 13 interceptions once again. And then you go last year, 4,000 yards, which is the most that he's had so far. 19 touchdowns to 10 interceptions, which is the worst year that he has pretty much had statistically. When you have that confidence of a 12-3 season, and he has never looked the same or been considered, after his second year, people were talking about him in the top 5, top 10 quarterback category.
Yeah.
Now I'm wondering if he even deserves to be a franchise guy. This is a guy that has been battered. He's been injured. He gets hit all the time due to his lack of protection from this offensive line.
His completion percentage also last year was the highest it's ever been in his career, though.
It was 68.9, which was very good. His QBR was about 49.3. With a bad offensive line, I'll give him that. But you do have John Gruden as an NFL head coach. He's one of the best offensive minds in the NFL. They had a very bad defense with no pass rush, as we've been talking about. This is a guy that I think is broken. I don't think he's a leader. I think he's soft mentally. I don't think that this is the type of coach that John Gruden can have. I think John Gruden needs a tougher quarterback. So I think a lot of this has to do with John Gruden being the head coach as well.
Okay.
He inherited Derek Carr. He did not choose Derek Carr. That is a big part of it as well. So I'm going to break down for Derek Carr. All right, last but not least, break out or break down for Jimmy Garapolo.
I think this is the toughest one you have on this list because I mean we haven't seen like a full season from this guy, and I think he has the talent. And I mean, you look at the 3 games he played in last season. Okay, I guess not great like everyone was expecting. I don't know. I think I'll lean towards breakdown. But if he had a breakout season, it wouldn't surprise me either. Because I think we've seen his capabilities of when he was in New England, but that may have just been because he's with the best NFL coach in history and in one of the best teams in NFL history. Whereas in San Francisco, I don't know. I don't know if he can lead a team. I don't know if he has the capabilities to lead a team. So I would lean towards breakdown. But this is a toss-up for me, honestly.
Yeah, I'll also go toward breakdown. I think that once again, like you said, this is the toughest one. Now, I've been told that the San Francisco 49ers front office is among the best in the NFL, and they're so smart. But are they? Because they traded for a first rounder for Jimmy Garapolo, which was fine. Or
they always do well in the draft. They do well in the draft.
But do they, though? That year that they traded back for Mitchell Trubisky, they let the Bears take Trubisky at number 2. They got Solomon Thomas, who might not even start this year. Bust, pretty much, at Solomon Thomas. And then they got Reuben Foster, no longer on the team. So are they really this diabolical mega mind of a front office? I don't believe so. I'm really starting to doubt that quite a bit. I'm going to go with breakdown. And another big reason, and another reason I failed to mention with Derek Carr, both of these quarterbacks are going to be 28 this season. If I'm questioning if you're the guy at 28 years old, he's damn near in his 30s now. And I'm questioning if you're the franchise guy for a team, you're running out of time. I got to get more from you. I don't want you to be 35 and just starting to be my franchise guy. So I'm going to go with breakdown. And I realized that I just did breakdown for 3 of the 4. And Jameis Winston's the one guy standing up for. That doesn't give me confidence.
What are you doing?
I don't know. Okay, moving on. We're talking about, obviously, some more quarterback NFL. Seems to be the recurring theme here. It's very close to home for you. So we talked about Ezekiel Elliott last episode. Let's talk about Dak Prescott. He wants $40 million was the initial offer. That's not saying that he's going to get $40 million or even close to that, by the way, people at home. Just because you start at $40 million in negotiations does not mean that's where it ends. So, Dak, is he worth $40 million for the Dallas Cowboys?
So, at first, my initial reaction was just no way. I mean, absurd. But then you really kind of think about it, and I saw this on SportsCenter of there's only one guy who has as many wins as Dak Prescott in his first seasons, and that's Tom Brady. Dak Prescott's had more success than any Dallas Cowboys quarterback ever when he started out.
Yeah.
And what the biggest factor I think with this is Carson Wentz signed a deal before Dak. Dak has had better numbers than Carson Wentz in his career. Well, I don't know about that necessarily, but you're
right, he does. But the injury factor.
Yeah, it is
significant to that.
But honestly, I think what is a big factor for the Dallas Cowboys is we're not letting the freaking Philadelphia Eagles have a quarterback getting paid more than our quarterback of America's team. You know what I mean? This is a kind of mindset. I necessarily don't have that mindset, but I think it's just the Dallas Cowboys franchise as a whole. No way we're letting a team in our division have a quarterback that might be more successful and make more money than our guy, our franchise guy. You know? So I honestly think he might settle for $34 to the $36 million range. I don't necessarily agree with that. I may be more critical on Dak Prescott than any other guy. He doesn't get rid of the ball quick enough. He's inconsistent. He doesn't use his legs as much as he should. He has one of the best offensive lines and running back in the NFL, if not the best. And so, yeah, he's won all these games, but has it necessarily been because of him? Think about plays where, is he the reason they won that game? Was that play the reason they won that game? Or was it because Des Bryant got open? Was it because Jalen Smith made an incredible tackle near the goal line? I've said more often than not that the defense won us that game. Because the Dallas Cowboys defense is pretty damn good. And we talked about this on Monday. We talked about there's no reason that this team shouldn't be in the Super Bowl contention. They have one of the best defenses, one of the best offensive lines, and one of the best running backs in the entire league. And there's no doubt about that. So what's the issue? I think it's quarterback. I really do. So when you say, is he really our franchise guy? Or was he just so incredible in those first few years when our offensive line was in their prime that he's looked so good? I really don't know. That's why it's such a tough thing to answer. I love Dak, and I think he's great for the franchise. But is he worth $36 million? I don't know. I really don't. I said this on Monday, too, and I'm going to say it again. I'd rather pay Zach Martin $30 million. I would, because he's the best guard in the entire league. Dak's not the best quarterback in the league. I think Dak might be a top 15 quarterback, but he's not top 5. So should he be making top 5 money? I don't think so. I really don't think so.
Yeah,
It's close to home. It's tough.
A lot of that, yeah, you're right. I mean, a lot of that was well said. One thing that I think you hit on that was a great point was his best years were when that prime offensive line. When that Dallas Cowboys offensive line was healthy and they were a little bit younger. Not that they're too far removed from that.
We went 13-3.
It went 13-3.
Anybody could have been back there. Romo probably would have won the Super Bowl.
Right. Listen, I mean, that O-line's gonna go down as top 5. Like that Cowboys O-line's gonna rival the one that you guys had with Aikman. I mean, that's gonna be
Emmitt Smith.
In Emmitt Smith, that's going to be one of the best offensive lines that we've ever talked about before. Was that 13-3 season? Those guys were destroying people. That does make you look a lot better. So this is how I'm going to look at it here. You are the Dallas Cowboys starting quarterback. You are America's team starting quarterback, the face of the franchise. But if I paid you, Dak, I can't pay Amari. Okay, Zeke's probably gone. Your offensive line, they've locked all those guys up, except for Martin. I think he still needs a new deal, if that's right. I'm not sure. But I know Frederick and Tyron Smith have been locked up. Tank's going to be there. Byron Jones is going to go.
And that's another thing. We just paid Tank $100 million.
Yeah.
That's a pretty big deal.
So what's the team going to look like with Dak Prescott with not quite the amount of help that he had on the side? If the Dallas Cowboys defense is bottom half of the league, and I'm not even talking 30th. I'm not even talking Chiefs bad. I'm talking 20, 16 area, or just around there. And then all of a sudden you don't have Zeke, or you don't have Amari, or even take out one of the two.
Or Byron Jones.
What's it look like now? All of a sudden Dak's not as crisp. All of a sudden those problems that you were talking about, holding on the ball too long, not using his legs, all of a sudden those become elevated, more pressured issues because, well, you make $40 million a year. This is not what I should be expecting from you. You are the guy that I chose to keep over Byron, over Zeke, over Amari, over Zach Martin. All of a sudden, hear about maybe it looks sexy right now because you got all the stars. You got Zach, you got Travis, you got Amari. Then when those things start going away, all of a sudden you're left with Dak, $40 million every single year, and you're like, whoa. How did this happen? How did we choose Dak over all of these superstars?
Yeah.
No way I would pay him $40 million a year. I think you would be more efficient, and I think it'd be more beneficial to go look for another quarterback for a cheaper price tag. I know that sucks. What?
Do you trade Dak?
No, I think you probably just let him walk. I think that's probably the best way. You can maybe I don't know. It's tough. I mean, the quarterback situation is always tough, but you know that he's not going to walk or be traded. He's going to get signed to probably a $40 million a year deal. That's what's going to happen.
Most likely. So, I don't know if it'll necessarily be 40, but I think it'll be
near that.
Yeah. It'll be more than Carson Wentz. That's for sure.
Most likely. Okay, moving on. This is a topic I kind of want to talk about last week, but we didn't have enough time. The NFL, should they cancel preseason games? They're talking about going down to 2 and then adding 2 more regular season games, obviously to make more money. That's obvious. But should they just completely get rid of the preseason in its entirety?
Honestly, I think maybe having just 1 or 2 is enough. Rather than getting rid of it in its entirety. I think what a lot of teams are starting to like to do, and we see more and more of it, is having their training camps kind of combined. We saw the Detroit Lions and Patriots kind of like combined training camp where they're practicing against one another. Rather than beating up on each other, they're just having a practice together so they can go against some other guys. I think a lot more teams would rather do that, run like a 3-hour scrimmage than a full-blown preseason game where guys get hurt. And that's really the biggest thing that happens in a preseason game is guys get hurt. But the other thing that's kind of, beneficial, I guess, for a preseason game is to truly determine your roster, who gets cut, who doesn't. I think showing in a preseason game saying, boy, you looked good in practice and training camp, but boy, when you got on that field, you were lost, really lost. Yeah. So I think that kind of determines. So rather than eliminating it completely, having just 1 or 2, but having 4 is just, I think, a waste of everyone's time.
Yeah, I just think it's hilarious because aren't we talking about helmets, right? We're talking about player safety. This is the new thing. We want these players to be protected 100%. But you're throwing them out there for 4 extra games. You're not protecting these guys. Are you kidding me? What are you talking about? You say, oh, we need player safety. These guys are getting concussions. CTE is a huge problem. We're protected. We got to protect the players. Got to protect the players. Over and over. Got to protect the players. Then why are we playing 4 extra games every freaking season? It's 4 extra games. I know the starters don't play the entire time. That's not the point. You're throwing these guys out there. They're all going 100% because they're trying to make the team. You're getting guys on the low end, on the low level who are only making hundreds of thousands. I know that doesn't sound like a whole lot. I mean, it does sound like a whole lot.
Who are trying to go out and kill a guy on a kickoff team.
Right.
So they're trying to make a team.
So say this. You're a 4-year
full-blown to kill a kick returner. Saying,
yeah, exactly.
I just made that tackle. That was me. Make me be on the team.
Yes. You're a 4-year player coming out of Illinois, and you're on a kickoff return. Bam. You sprain your Achilles. You can't play in training camp. You get cut. Just like that. That's your last chance you ever get in the NFL. Just like that. Off of a kickoff return, spraining your calf, spraining something. You can't be in training camp. You get cut just like that. You're putting low-level players on the end of the spectrum out with 4 games to go hurt themselves. Absolutely idiotic. Get rid of the whole thing. Go with scrimmages like you were just talking about. Joint practices, light scrimmages. If you want to protect the players, then protect the players. I'm tired of hearing about preseason. Oh my goodness, man. It's such
I hate the training camp and preseason storylines.
It's terrible. It's such a hypocrisy. That's
so just useless information. It's just.
They're saying, well, we don't want these guys to get hurt, but, let's put them out there so we can make some money.
Remember last season when everyone was talking about, man, Mahomes threw like 4 interceptions today in practice.
Right.
Oh, my God. I heard this morning, man, Garapolo threw 5 interceptions today in practice. Should we be concerned? What? Who cares?
Yeah.
Literally, who cares?
Yeah. All right, we got to cut a little fat here. We're running a little over on time, so we'll get to that one next time.
That before? We're always just so by the book.
Always. We're to the minute, to the second. Okay, going to top 5 lists. We're going to go with top 5 NFL defensive lines, and then top 5 popular TV shows that we have never seen. Austin, I put this on here strictly for you. I know you don't watch anything. So you'll take very much.
I'm very select, and if I find a show I like, it's pretty much all I watch, and I don't watch anything else.
So we're not listing top 5 most popular shows ever, but you'd be fooled by Austin's list because he hasn't seen any of the top 5 most popular shows ever. Okay, number 5.
I typed in top 5 most popular TV shows, and I was like, oh, didn't see that.
Oh, nope. Okay, top 5 NFL defensive lines, Austin.
All right, so I will start my list. This is a team that you kind of debated on, and it's a big thing is – so I have the Pittsburgh Steelers, and this is something not really anyone kind of remembers. They had 52 sacks last season. And I know you didn't know that stat, so that's why I threw it into the mix for you.
Hold on. Guys, before the show started, I told him this stat so that he could sound like he knew what he was talking about. That's fine. Turn on me, throw me under the bus that I created.
So Bud Dupree added into the mix, Vince Williams, and then Stephon Tuitt. But another thing that's like, oh, well, I guess he helps with the defensive line is TJ Watt. He's kind of that outside linebacker type, kind of DeMarcus Ware-ish, I guess, is a comparison.
That's a comparison.
But had 13 sacks last season. Really, this whole defense is pretty good, but their defensive line is kind of underrated. I think number 4, I have the Minnesota Vikings. So for Minnesota, I think the biggest step was their ability to keep wow, I'm blanking on his name right now.
Daniel Hunter.
Yes, yeah, Daniel Hunter. So, yeah, here it is. So, Minnesota had as many sacks last year as Chicago, and spoiler, Chicago is number 1 on both of our lists. They had just as many sacks as Chicago, which was the 3rd best in the league. Daniel Hunter had 14 and a half sacks, which was a career high for him. Yeah. And then Everson Griffin also is kind of, oh man, Daniel Hunter, we better focus on him. And then next thing you know, oh wow, there's Everson Griffin out of nowhere.
He didn't play the whole year too.
Yeah, exactly. He didn't even play the whole year. And he had some issue, but it wasn't like football. It was like some mental health issue. That took him. Let's see. It doesn't say how many games.
It was a chunk.
Okay, yeah. He still had 5.5 sacks. Okay, so it was 5 games. 5 games is what it took out. And then I was just talking about the whole defense as a whole again. Harrison Smith, I've always thought is like one of the best safeties of all time. That white guy, that's back there is just absolutely murders people. He's like one of my favorite players to play with, like on Madden as a whole. Number 3, you're making me do this. I hate it that I'm doing it, but I'm doing it. I'm going to go with the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm going to run through it real quick so I don't, pass out. Fletcher Cox, obviously, is a beast, as well as Brandon Graham. Adding Malik Jackson really helps. But another thing that's going to be interesting for Philly, especially, is losing Chris Long. An integral part of their team as a whole, really, just as a leader standpoint. But also a defensive lineman they're really going to miss. But Fletcher Cox he's a beast. He's a beast. He just wreaks havoc up in the middle. Obviously, I mean, he's got to be one of the best defensive tackles in the league, right up there with some of the best, such as Aaron Donald, etc. Number 4, I guess it would be number 2. I got to have Jacksonville. So, obviously, Calais Campbell is top 5 defensive lineman in the league. I mean, he's a monster. I mean, he's right up there with some of the best of them, too, that we mentioned. But also, we have to mention that losing Malik Jackson, like we just said, kind of hurts. But with adding Josh Allen, who you and I both think could be a beast, out of Kentucky, we saw what he did in Kentucky. And then, of course, Njoku, the dominant duo, him and Calais Campbell are both just so great. And then I think this could really be a year where it's like, oh man, we might not be on the field the whole damn game. Now we have a quarterback, maybe. We might not be on the field the whole damn game. So I expect this defense to be similar to what it was just a few years ago. And then number 1, I have Chicago because, Chicago's pretty good. Yeah. I mean, they're probably the second best defensive lineman in total in the entire country with Khalil Mack. And what's that?
Entire country?
Yeah. Oh, did I say nation again? I always do this.
Entire country, which is also another college term.
That's what happens when you call it stock show.
Go ahead.
And then, of course, you have Akeem Hicks on the inside of Khalil Mack. They just really work as a great team unit of just pocket pressuring. They all come in together, and the quarterback can't escape out of it. I mean, they absolutely just encircle whatever quarterback it is so that they can't run around. And then also adding Roquan Smith, this team's going to be beast again from a defensive standpoint, which could inevitably lead them to the playoffs yet again. So that's my number 1. Pains me to talk about the Eagles like I did, but I did it for you, so you're welcome.
Yeah, we got, I think, 2 overlapping ones. Number 5, I have the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, the reason I went based off of how many studs do you have, and then also how deep are you? Because a lot of guys have terrific edge guys, like the Chargers. They have 2 terrific edge guys. You have Joey Bosa and then Melvin Ingram, but they are soft as can be up the middle. So, and I know they're trying to address that with drafting Jerry Tillery and all, but going with the Jacksonville Jaguars, They're pretty deep around the board, but I would like to see a little more. Marcel Darius, they ended up keeping over Malik Jackson. Kind of the same sort of player like we were talking about. Calais Campbell is going to do what he wants to do. And then you have Aubrey Jones. I'm kind of concerned about that nose tackle position. And then you have Nanik Ngakoue, which is one of the best up-and-comer pass rushers out there. The guy's a beast. He's probably going to take over for Calais Campbell. This might be Calais' last year. And who knows what's going to happen with him. And they drafted Josh Allen, so maybe he'll replace him. And I like Taven Bryan as a backup because he comes in on third down situations as a good nose tackle. Yeah. So then number 4, I think one of the most underrated units in the NFL. This is a very deep unit, by the way. The Washington Redskins. Now, I've been saying this for about a year now because once they got De'Aaron Payne, it just everything came full circle. So you have Jonathan Allen coming out of Alabama. You drafted him in the first round a couple years ago. He's a good power rusher coming off the edge. And then you have, or not kind of off the edge, kind of in the in-between area because they play the 3-4. De'Aaron Payne right there in the middle, nose tackle. He's up there. He's up there to eat blocks. And I love guys like that in the NFL, like Fletcher Cox. If you can go up there and if you can just eat blocks the entire game, you are exceptionally valuable. Exactly. Vince Wilfork. Michael Pierce is one of those guys. Matt Ioannidis, one of the more underrated pass rushers in the NFL, coming off the defensive end. And then both your edge guys are Ryan Anderson, could be Montez Sweat. They drafted him. Maybe people kind of forgot about him. That's going to be a kind of a starter battle. And then Ryan Kerrigan, who has been terrorized.
Sweat was a beast in college.
Montez Sweat was a beast in college. And you have Ryan Kerrigan, who has terrorized the Dallas Cowboys his entire career. So
it's fun.
Kerrigan kind of wraps that entire thing up. I like De'Aaron Payne. I really like the Redskins front 4. So then number 3, I'm going with the Detroit Lions. I love these guys. This is something that I think they're deep, and I think they have 4 guys who just go and get it. They have Trey Flowers. They have one of the best acquisitions, stealing him from the Patriots, going to work for Matt Patricia once again. You have the best run stopper in the NFL with Snacks Harrison Jr., Damon Harrison Jr. Every single run stopping statistic, he's number 1. And then the other records that he has is also him again and again and again. It's Harrison Sr. He is the best run stopper in the NFL. A'Shawn Robinson, who was a beast coming off of the edge or coming off of the middle because they play the 4-3. And Damian Harrison Sr. both rushing up the middle. And then you have on the edge, Mike Daniels. I mean, one of the best guys. You just stole him away from the Green Bay Packers, a veteran guy. I mean, can you get better than those 4? Apparently you can because they're at number 3 on my list. So number 2, I have the Philadelphia Eagles as well. Now, these guys have a lot. I think this might be the deepest lineup of them all. Brandon Graham, one of the best to do it. Malik Jackson, they stole him away. Fletcher Cox, and then Derek Barnett. Derek Barnett has some injury issues. Kind of the weak link on there, but he's still exceptional. Then you have Vinny Curry backing him up, Tim Jurgen. Those are guys that could start almost anywhere else in the NFL.
Tim Jurgen, he's from Baltimore, right?
I'm not 100% sure. I couldn't confirm that. So, but Brandon Graham, Malik Jackson, Fletcher Cox, Derek Barnett, and then Vinny Curry, Tim Jurgen. Unbelievable. I mean, that depth is bar none. So I love the depth for the Eagles. That brings them at number 2. And then number 1, like you said, the Chicago Bears. Again, another deep lineup. Akeem Hicks. This guy, if Khalil Mack wasn't on that defensive line, Akeem Hicks would get just amounts of love. That guy is a freak in the middle of the defense. He can blow up and play every single time. Eddie Goldman, who had the career year last year, just a big guy. Once again, nose tackle in the 3-4 system, really just to take up blocks. Bilal Nichols, kind of a guy. I wouldn't really consider him one of the superstar guys, but a good guy could start on a lot of teams as well. I think Khalil Mack coming off the edge. And then on the other side of the edge, you have Leonard Floyd and Aaron Lynch. Aaron Lynch had a career year last year as well. He could start on a lot of teams. And then Leonard Floyd as well. Both those guys are very fast speed rushers coming off the edge to complement Khalil Mack on the other end. So those are my top 5. All right, moving on. Top 5 popular TV shows you've never seen. Take it away.
This is a tough list for us.
For you.
For me especially. Number 5 on my list is Mad Men. I really couldn't tell you really anything about it, to be honest. Never seen it. Number 4, Breaking Bad. I've seen a lot of references. It's something about some guy who's, I think is he a teacher who
He's a chemistry teacher who makes meth.
Makes meth. Okay, that's what I thought. It was something like he wears like a yellow jacket, I think, and he has glasses. And it's like, is it like blue? Is the meth like blue or something?
Yeah.
That's literally all I know. I haven't seen a single of Game of Thrones. Heard a lot of people talking about it, seen a lot on Twitter about it, but never seen it. That's just, I don't know. That show just seems a little too out there for me. Like I like Star Wars and Harry Potter and stuff, but that's just like, I don't know. I'm good. And then The Walking Dead, never seen an episode of it. I don't know. I really don't know why. I don't know. I'm not a big. And Jordan knows I'm not a big like series guy. Like sit down and watch this huge series and stuff. I'm just like
you like shows. You like shows that you could go and watch the first episode and skip to the 5th season and watch an episode and there's no difference. Like you wouldn't be able. You like non-continuous lines.
Like Family Guy and stuff like that. I like shows that I can see any episode out of order and be perfectly fine with. Rather than these huge series. And then number 1, this goes to like an odd thing about me personally. I hate hospitals. I hate them. I hate being in them. I hate being, anything to do with them. So Grey's Anatomy is my number 1. Haven't seen them. I will never see. My mom used to watch it. I remember specifically, like, I'd be like, what you watch? She's like, Grey's Anatomy? Complete 180. I'm out. Not seeing it, not watching it, won't do it. And that just goes to, like, this weird thing about I hate hospitals, so I'm not about to see a show that deals with people bleeding out every 5 seconds on a hospital bed. Not about it. Nope. Not. So no, I'm not gonna see it. Not gonna see it. Or any of these shows. It's so rough. I've literally typed in top 5 most popular TV shows, and I was like, haven't seen any of them. All right, this is gonna go well.
Man. All right. Well, I mean, I can't really follow that very well, so I'll start with number 5. I did Mad Men. I watched the first episode and I fell asleep. It was unbelievably boring. It's about marketing. Oh God, make one about real estate. What? Jesus Christ, that's terrible. Then number 4, I have NCIS. Oh man, I hate these shows. Every time I see him on, it's just the same, guy taking his glasses off says, "What do we have here?"
Oh my God!
Like I hate it. It's repetitive. It's the exact same thing.
I've never been a fan of any of these type of shows like this. Law and Order.
No.
Minds. I'm good.
No, I'm tired of it. Then number 3, catch some heat for this one, The Simpsons. Now I've seen the movie. It's one of the longest running TV shows in history. I've seen the movie. I've seen a couple episodes here and there. But I don't think it's funny. Just like I don't think Futurama is funny, which is made by the exact same people.
I don't think that show's funny.
Sorry, I just don't. And
I'm
then
a
number
Family Guy, so
rivalry.
Yeah, I guess so.
Then number 2, Grey's Anatomy. I've actually seen of any of the shows. I've seen this one the most, just by piecing it together because my girlfriend and my mom watch it so much that every time I walk into a room, I just piece it together and I kind of know what's happening. But I've never really sat down and watched it. And what's funny though is one of my favorite shows is actually Chicago Med, which is kind of like Grey's Anatomy.
Okay.
But, and that would you would hate to watch.
I couldn't do it.
Then number 1 is a show I've never seen a lick of. I mean, not even.
I have seen one episode of it, and you're not missing.
I haven't even seen a sliver of one episode of it. Big Bang Theory. It seems like the most just sitcom you've ever seen in your entire life.
I didn't like it.
I'm okay. Thank
you.
Thank you.
I'm good. I'm good on all of. I don't really need to see any of these shows. I think
you should of the list. Breaking Bad is definitely one you should watch because I know you're not a huge series guy, but I'm saying like if you're gonna take your time out of any of these 5 on any of our lists, Breaking Bad is definitely one you should watch for sure.
Okay,
it's worth it. It's worth it. Okay, we're gonna go to Twitter poll question of the day. I forgot that I didn't even release the one last week. Sorry, guys. So we're just gonna move on.
Yeah, I didn't even think about it.
I didn't either. We're gonna move on from it. So we're gonna ask you the same question that we asked ourselves. Do you believe that the NFL should cancel the preseason altogether? And then one that I wanted to find out quite a bit ago. Do you judge people who would bring their own golf clubs to Topgolf?
Are you this type of person?
Yeah. I want to find out what the people are thinking. I am this type of person. I want to hit the ball as far as I can.
Yeah, it's not a driving range, but yeah, I know it's all right.
It is a driving range.
I mean, it's more like putting it where you want it, more than like hitting it as far as you can.
Yeah, but no one does that. No one's going for the nets. They're going to hit. They're driving bombs.
That's fair.
Chicks dig the long ball. Okay, you're trying to hit the ball as far as you can, so everyone
out there.
Exactly. You're trying to hit as far as you can, so everyone in your little course and in your little commune can see. Okay, so that's what everyone's trying to do. They're not going for the nets. You kidding me? Who cares about points? Trash. All right, moving on to pump the brakes. Number one, all these are NFL, by the way. Number one, the Browns will have the best offense in the NFL this season.
Like, look, I don't hate Baker as much as you do, but
you don't hate him.
I mean, I like him, but they're not going to be the best offense in the NFL. Like, I just saw something that said they have a 51% chance to make the playoffs. So they go from being lucky to win a game to now being a 50% chance of making the playoffs. I'm pumping the brakes big time.
Yeah. 100% I'm pumping the brakes, especially as a Kansas City Chiefs fan. The Chiefs offense has gotten better. You're looking at Tardif coming back. He was injured almost the entire season last year. Tyreek Hill's coming back. Plus, you have Mecole Hardman. Byron Pringle might be returning some punts and some kicks this year. Nothing but speedsters. I mean, Byron Pringle's the slowest guy on our roster.
Exactly.
It's unbelievable. I mean, come on. And I don't even think they're going to have the best offense in that division. I think Pittsburgh's going to have a better offense than they are. I think Odell's going to get hurt. In the last 32 games that he's played, he's been injured in 16 of them. Half of the games that he's played, he's been injured in. So I expect that to continue. I expect the Pittsburgh team to finally come out and be focused. I think Ben Roethlisberger wins the MVP. I think they have a better offense than them. And I think the Chiefs probably are – the Chiefs and the Steelers are probably 1 and 2 for best offense in the AFC. And then you have the Rams and the Saints, and you have the Packers, who knows what they might do. No way they're having the best offense in the NFL. All right, number 2. Andrew Luck is going to have a career year.
I'm pumping the brakes. I don't think he can stay healthy. He's not healthy now, so I'm going to pump him.
Might not even play week 1, Austin.
Exactly. So, no. I would and you brought this up earlier, and I would have loved to see this guy in his prime. Who knows what he could have done? I mean, really, we haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
Which is sad.
We never have. And I thought it is truly strange because when Jacoby Brissett was starting on that team just 2 years ago, they weren't very good, but he was playing extremely well. And I thought that he did more than enough to deem a starting job anywhere else in the NFL where he was needed. But they haven't traded him because of Andrew Luck.
Yeah, they need him.
He's always injured. You need that backup to have there. I don't think so. I think this might be one of the worst years for him because I'm not 100% sure that he's coming into the NFL healthy this year. So.
He's not, because he's not.
Yeah, right. Okay, number 3. Give you a stare before I say this one. Dak Prescott is just as good as Carson Wentz.
Yes.
You don't believe that.
I do believe that. I do believe that. Yeah, I do.
When they're both healthy.
I do believe that. Carson Wentz is just bigger. That's the only advantage.
Oh, man.
I believe it.
Wow. Stop. Just stop it. You know it's not true.
I do.
You know it's awesome. It's just you and me here. Okay? No one's listening. No one's watching. Yeah. You know it's not true.
I don't.
Carson Wentz is exponentially better than Dak Prescott.
No, he's not.
Yes. Carson Wentz, when he was healthy, before he tore his ACL, was going to be the NFL MVP. This was the quarterback that you would consensus around the league was going to build their team around before Patrick Mahomes came in the NFL. This was the guy to build your team around. Nick Foles is finally gone. He's finally going to get a clean bill of health from week 1. his talent supersedes Dak Prescott, 110%. Now, I love Dak Prescott. I think he's one of the best leaders, pure leaders that we have in the NFL. His limitations are very evident. And Carson Wentz does not have those limitations. He has injuries. That's the only reason why we're having this discussion right now.
I'm not changing my mind. I'm not gonna do it.
So if you were not a Cowboys fan, you would. So if you weren't a Cowboys fan, you'd still say this?
Yeah.
Really?
I think so.
We'll just got to move on. I'm not gonna get the answer I'm looking for.
You're not.
Yeah, that's all right. Okay, number 4. There will be 2 coaches fired by midseason. Pump the brakes.
Gosh, I don't know, because there's just already been so many coaching changes already. So I'm gonna lean towards pump the brakes on it. Yeah.
Okay, so you think I would say maybe pump the brakes because I only can see one. I'm not sure if I go around the NFL. There's a lot of new coaches now.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. There's a lot of new coaches already that they won't get fired at midseason.
I would say, I would say one is going to happen.
What's that?
The Ron Rivera is one that I think if they get off to a bad start, he's on the hot seat. But I don't know if they make that call by midseason because I think he's a good coach. I think Jay Gruden's gone. I think that's definitely for sure. I don't know if they for the Washington Redskins, right? I don't know if the Giants would let go of Pat Shurmur this early. I don't think they have the talent, and I think they know that. Bruce Arians, no way. There's Dan Quinn could get fired. The thing is though, I don't think any of these guys are on the real hot seat right now.
They're not. Coming into the season, yeah, they know.
I think Jay Gruden is the one that's definitely on the hot seat. So mid-season is you already are probably suspected before the season starts.
Yeah.
I go with pump the brakes, but I think Jay Gruden definitely gets fired this year. Okay, and then finally, last but not least, Tom Brady is declining. Pump the brakes. I'll go ahead. He is declining physically. You saw that a little bit last year, a little bit less air on the ball, less velocity, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's what I was like. Yeah, I mean, he's declining because of age, but he's still the best quarterback in the league. So, I mean.
Yeah, you think he's the best quarterback in the league?
Well, I mean, no, but I mean, like, he's up there.
Right. Yeah, I mean, this is gradual, age decline, but
everyone wants it to happen, but it hasn't happened yet.
if you can decline and still play at that level and still win at that level, most especially, I'd take that.
Yep.
40-something years old, winning Super Bowl still. I don't care if it was a 10-7 game or 7-3. Was it 7-3 game? Yeah, 7-3 against the Rams. I don't care. All right, that is it for Meet Me Halfway. Very we had today. Just so much to talk about. Austin, you can say bye to the people.
Bye, people.
All right, we will see you guys on Monday. Maybe a different time. I'm not sure. I got to look at my classes. I might have to new location. I might have to do the show on campus because on Monday and Wednesdays I have a class at 1 and then I have a class at 5. And I don't know if I want to drive all the way back just for a few hour break. So I might just find a nice cozy spot at KSU and maybe just do a show from there. Who knows? But either way, show on Monday. Stay tuned. Thank you guys for watching. Meet Me Halfway. Jordan Griffith, Austin Norton. Thank you for watching.